This video is sponsored by War Thunder. Crusader Kings 3 is a game all about forging a mighty empire, spreading your dynasty across continents, and dominating the medieval world with ruthless warfare. With that comes the task of managing vast kingdoms, raising massive armies to conquer your neighbor, and building a dynasty that will last the test of time. But what if we didn't do that? But what if we took everything you're supposed to do and threw it out the window? And we just limited ourselves, not to an empire, but to one single tiny island. How far could we get? Could we rise from an insignificant speck in the ocean to the richest and most powerful ruler capable of dominating the planet? Well, today I'm answering the question, can we conquer the medieval world of Crusader Kings 3 while starting from one tiny island? But before we go any further, I need to give you some small background on how things will work, just in case you've never played the game before. We'll be starting on a remote, isolated island with barely enough land to sustain us. You may know this place as the Chinese province of Taiwan, or Formosa if you're a Portuguese explorer from the 1600s, or Chinese Taipei if you're an Olympic host who likes to keep things vague. But today we'll be playing as a man who doesn't like to keep things vague, John Cena. We'll have a tiny population, minimal resources, and a laughable army. Meanwhile, our enemies? Well, they've got entire empires, thousands of troops, and treasuries so full of gold, they can build wonders we can't even imagine. So you can see why trying to beat this game by confining ourselves to a tiny island is gonna be a bit of an issue. Now, I know the question on your mind, how exactly do you beat a role-playing map game with no end? Well, in CK3, expansion is everything. You start as a count, and the largest type of holding you can have is an empire. The usual way to obtain an empire is pretty simple. Create a small army, subjugate your neighbor, use their resources to build a bigger army, and so on and so forth until you're an unstoppable powerhouse. But we start without any army. Hell, we don't even control the whole island yet. And if we did control the island, we wouldn't have any neighbors to take over. And even if we did somehow make it work, another question emerges.
Where's the rum gone?
How do we possibly grow our resources to overthrow an empire? Well, I have a plan.
Someone cooked here.
We're gonna need to get a little bit creative. We'll need to use technology, economic investment, super obscure education mechanics, murder, and of course, a bit of good old-fashioned inbreeding to keep the bloodline pure. All in the name of, let's say, progress. So without further ado, let's get into it. 你好，中国，我是 John Cena, and welcome to Crusader Kings 3, but this time with Asia. So today we're playing this mod here, the Asia Expanded project. Now this is awesome because it adds all this new territory for us to play. Now out of all of this, the one place I really wanted to play was this kingdom right down here. And today we are going to make this the strongest and most powerful kingdom on the map. Now of course we're referring to it as a kingdom because in the game it is defined as a kingdom. Now we have a bit of a problem. This kingdom is made up of at least 7 counties, and every single one of these other rulers have more troops than we do. I've started this custom character with 300 troops. This is much less than the 800 my neighbor has. So taking them over and controlling this kingdom is step 1, and that is going to be quite difficult. Once we have control of the kingdom, then we need to look into building it into one of the most developed places in the world. If you take a look now at our development, it is terrible. Only 2 development. When you compare that to, let's say, Chang'an over here, with 25 out of 100 development, we are crazy far behind. So once we build this island into a massive powerhouse, we will then need to take on our enemy to conquer and destroy it. Step 1 is to kill and control all of my neighbors. And how are you going to do that, you may ask? You are a simple count holding one small holding that is apparently vertical on this mountain. I am going to kill and destroy all of my neighbors using a secret weapon that rulers have been using for hundreds of thousands of years. The child bride. You see, John Cena here is not married, and if I go to find him a spouse, I can search based on alliance power. Would you look at that? Who is available but a 3-year-old? Dear God, what has this game done to me? So I'm gonna lock in this kid for an alliance with 1,600 troops. And there you have it. A few days into the game, and we've secured ourselves probably the most powerful alliance on all of Taiwan. the Chinese province of Taiwan. So now we can get started with our first invasion. This guy here, he's got 510 troops. Let's declare war with him for his county. And the most important thing, we will call our newfound allies. All right, my allies are here and we're just taking the holding. There we go. Easy as you like. Okay, so we can now enforce the demands down here. Now I'm gonna disband my troops and then immediately turn to declaring war down here. And again, I will go right back to my ally and see if he wants to help me. Please help me, sir. Great, my allies have done pretty much all the work here. We've got 100% war score, so let's enforce the demands. And these guys at the top of the mountain, they have only 200 troops. We could declare war on them. We should be able to wipe them up just ourselves now, I suppose.
This is the worst.
Let's see. Oh yeah, decisive victory coming in here. Boom, boom. We will take it. And you know what? While I'm here, I might as well take this last holding down here as well. And wow, that was easy. I literally just won one battle. I suppose I'll go for the final piece down here. Now we do have a truce with these guys because we did win one war against them, but you know, who cares? We'll lose a little bit of legitimacy and spend some prestige, but it really doesn't matter to me. Let's just declare war against them. And we can enforce our demands down here. Beautiful. So we now control this entire island. And now all we need to do is save up 250 gold to make the kingdom. Step 1 in making this island the most powerful and rich nation. The most powerful and rich Chinese province on the map. All right, now while we wait, I have my lovely child bride here, right? She was basically used so that we could secure and hold power on this island here. But the problem with her is that she's nothing special. She's not gonna give us great children. So I'm gonna be a complete and total scumbag now. I'm just gonna come over here and break this betrothal off. Now, we will lose a level of fame. That's bad. Her father will hate us. That's also bad. But you need to understand something. Crusader Kings 3 is a game about dynasties and preparing yourself for the next ruler. That's why whatever child I have is going to be super important. And with this woman, you know, they would have been all right, but they wouldn't have been superhumans that are poised to take over the world. So what I need is to find a really good wife. And I'm going to search by traits inheritable. Oh, this woman here. Now, Sheng Tong has the Amazonian or Herculean trait, giving us +8 prowess to our heir and a huge health boost. Not only that, but she's got really good stewardship, which is going to allow us to manage our counties more efficiently. So I'm going to send her that proposal. You'll notice that since we've secured the kingdom here, we are above our domain limit, right? There is 7 holdings here, and we have 23 stewardship, meaning that we can only have 5 holdings. And as a result, we take a whole bunch of penalties. Now, as everyone knows, when you look at your council in CK3, you have all the people that help you out with various things. Datin Shengdong, my new wife, is just assisting me now. It'll make me a little bit better at learning, a little bit better at stewardship. What I want her to do is help me manage my domain, giving me +8 to my stewardship. Well, now we have the ability to hold 6 holdings and we're only 1 over the limit, reducing the penalties we're taking. Okay, so we've saved up enough gold. We can now create the kingdom. Create title. Beautiful. And we are now a Raja. I don't know if that's accurate, but we'll take it. So now that we've created the kingdom, you can see we have our 7 of 7 domain holdings, but there's a problem. Take a look at all our holdings. Look, they're making no money. 0.1, 1.8. Really, we are absolutely tragic. We're making 2.8 gold per month. When you look at the papacy, for example, they're making 22 gold per month. The Khmer over here are even making 9, so we're pretty pathetic at the moment. And part of that is because of our government. You can see there's a bunch of different governments in CK3, right? You have clan governments, you have feudal governments, but we unfortunately are tribal. Now, what does that mean? It means basically we don't have any technology and we can't build any buildings that are going to be helpful in terms of getting us a lot of gold. Now, in order to go from tribal to feudal, it is incredibly difficult. There is a bunch of requirements we have to fulfill. One, we have to have absolute tribal authority. So if we take a look, our tribal authority is our system of governance. Right now, we're disparate tribes, so we're just random tribes all all over the place. Next up in adopting feudal ways, we have to make sure our Hanitu religion is a reformed religion. So that in and of itself is a whole other feat that we'll talk about in just a moment. After that, we have to have an improved level of fame, an increased amount of development, and 70% of all military and civic tribal innovations. Now, the more we can improve our culture and reform it and develop the lands where our culture exists, the faster our culture can research technologies. Right now, if we want to research mods, it's going to take us about 50 years to research the technology, and you can see that is because we have a very low development in our county. Now, we can increase development by taking our steward and have him increase development in the county. In 18 months, he'll increase it to 3, and then the total keeps going. But this is incredibly slow. Don't worry, however, I have some cheeky ways we're really going to speed it up. More on that in a minute. First, a quick break so I can tell you about today's sponsor, War Thunder. War Thunder is the most comprehensive vehicle combat game ever made, and you can play it free right now on PC, consoles, and mobile. It has over 2,500 super detailed tanks, planes, helicopters, and ships from 10 different nations. Whether you're in an armored car from the 1920s or a modern-day fighter jet, the crazy detailed graphics, authentic sound design, and damage model are so immersive and realistic. One of my favorite things about the game is the damage system. Every bullet, shell, and missile actually interacts with the armor realistically. If you take out their engine or armor rack, you can see it all through the X-ray vision view. By playing War Thunder, you'll be in a massive community of over 70 million players, engaging in epic PvP battle across land, sea, and air. Whether you're a casual player or a hardcore history military buff, there's no better game to experience the thrill of warfare. Best of all, you can now play War Thunder free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile. To support me, you have to use my links in the pinned comment or description. New players or those returning for the first time in 6 months on PC or console will also get a massive bonus pack, including multiple premium vehicles, the exclusive Eagle of Valor vehicle decorator, 100,000 silver lines, and 1 week of premium free. It's all available for a limited time, so don't miss out. Go hop into a tank, plane, or warship to experience the chaos, and I'll see you on the battlefield. So essentially, in adopting feudal ways, a lot of this is a waiting game where we have to wait for the development to increase in our capital. And as a result, that will allow us to research technologies a little bit quicker. The only thing that we can actually focus on now to improve is the religion. Now, we have this wonderful religion, the Hanitu religion. And in order to reform it to something a little bit better, you can see we're missing a ton of piety. So there's a couple ways to improve our piety. One, we can look at our lifestyle. Right now, I've selected the learning lifestyle as a bit of a placeholder, and it's good because it has the profit perk over here. Now, picking this up will allow our faith creation and reformation costs to go down by 50%.
I can see what they're doing, what he's doing. I can see it, I feel it. He's cooking.
So I'm gonna do a few things simultaneously. The first thing I'm gonna do is start going on pilgrimages every opportunity I get. I can take a pilgrimage here, a pious pilgrimage, and make my way to any of the Hanitu holy sites. Okay, so we finished our pilgrimage and we've gained 110 piety. You'll notice the Hanitu faith is unreformed. So they have some more crude tenets, let's say, one of which being human sacrifice. Now, human sacrifice is a great one because it allows executions to earn piety instead of costing piety. So one of the things I'm gonna do is spend the prestige I have on beefing up my army a little bit. Now I'm going to buy some of these elite men-at-arms soldiers. So I'm actually going to now raise all of my soldiers, turn them into raiders, and fire them right down here into modern day Korea. And as you can see, we've taken a prisoner here in this young girl here. If I were to execute her, you'll see with human sacrifice, we gain 250 piety. So that is going to greatly help our chances in reforming our religion. So the raid gave me a bunch of loot and 5 prisoners. Now, by executing all of them, I will gain some stress, but it'll be manageable.
This guy and this guy and this guy.
And just like that, we're up to 1,600 piety. And I'm gonna take the gold I acquired and head on over for another pilgrimage. So I'm just going to continue on that cycle of raiding and pillaging until we have enough piety. Oh no, okay, we've had war declared on us from this vassal over here in the Tang Empire, and he's got 2,000 soldiers. Okay. It's not so bad because we're currently sitting at about 2,000 soldiers as well. So our enemies have landed on our shores down here. Now you're gonna notice two icons at the bottom. One, the attrition icon, meaning this army does not have enough supplies to sustain itself. And two, there's another icon that's not described, the little boat down here. Now that is the recently embarked icon, giving them a negative to their combat ability. So when we go attack them, we now have a buff to us. Our opponent is recently disembarked. We will be defending against them, and we have more soldiers.
Easy peasy.
There you go. So we smoked them, and then hopefully we can grab these guys before their embarkment penalty. They just got on land here.
Go crazy.
And we smoked a second army that embarked. So right now we're able to defend against a much larger, much stronger power than us, simply because we have all these boosts from being on an island. Perfect. And clapping them up in a battle, we can defeat them. And from that, we gain prestige. We gain some gold and war reparations. We are in really good shape now. Bruh, I just got the nickname the Bald. Look at this man. He's gonna pull out a hair. What are you talking about? I think this calls for a change in appearance. No one will see my bald spot now. All right, so we've saved up 4,500 piety, and it's time to reform our religion. I have cooked it up with these tenets. First off, I grabbed communal possession. This reduces the building construction cost by 10%, and I've updated some of the doctrines down here so that we can hold land and we can be the head of faith. And we now have a reformed religion. Oh my God, I was just looking at my son. Somehow he developed the incapable trait. He just looks like he has brain damage, this guy, bro. Oh my God, what happened? A blow to the head during a battle. Okay, that's kind of a problem because right now I have my wife who's 54. No more kids for this lady. I have a secondary spouse, but she's only 9.
Hey, yo, what the?
Okay, I can marry this beautiful woman. We'll take it. We'll take it.
Many months later.
Okay, we've had a son, a beautiful son with this wife that doesn't like me. Okay, Judge Sheeta 2 over here. Okay, I'm going to appoint wet nurse here, which will increase the child's development event progress and reduce their chance of illness. And I've made sure to put in a tutor as well to improve their education outcome. I've been waiting and saving up my renown, so now I can enact absolute tribal authority. So in order to adopt feudal ways, we're just waiting on a few things. One, the development to be equal to 10 or greater. And two, the most painful one is to have 70% of all military and civic tribal era innovations. Okay, I've somehow gained the Roman heritage legend seed. The Chinese John Cena, somehow a Roman descendant. I mean, it's interesting. I'll give it that much. It'll give us renown modifiers, stewardship modifiers, and development modifiers. That's kind of epic, actually. And we gain the nickname the Divine. So we're no longer the Bald, so I can finally remove my lovely hat. Okay, so I will be dead within a year. No stress. He's lived so long. Like my son even is now 27, which is getting a little old. Okay, so we have died and we'll be playing as our son, John Sheena 2. The first thing I'm gonna do is try and find him a good wife. Now, Ling Bing is a genius. We are beautiful. So let's lock that in and we're Bing chilling.
Eventually.
Ling Bing had a son. Okay, so he's beautiful and intelligent.
A surprise, to be sure, but a welcome one.
May you grow wise, my son. So a lot of time has passed, and all I've been doing was educating my son, and he's looking really good. He's got temperate, just, and diligent, giving him plus 23 stewardship. We've also unlocked the ability to adopt feudal ways. If you look at our culture, we've finally been able to research enough technologies. So I'll go ahead and unlock it. Now you can see right away our gold has gone down tremendously. That is because we went from a prestige-based economy with raiders to now we have an economy built on feudalism, on gold. As it currently stands, we're making minus 3.5. You can see our domain is making us plus 8, and our army is costing us a lot, but it's not so bad because we have 500 gold in the bank. Not only that, but our current ruler, Prince John Sheena 2, is half decent at stewardship. So I can very easily change him to the stewardship lifestyle down the domain focus and start picking up perks here. Perks like cutting cornerstones is going to make things a lot cheaper to build. I'm also going to make sure I employ a royal architect, which will reduce the construction time based on their aptitude. So I have Ita, who is my previous wife. She is an excellent royal architect. I'll appoint her, and now every building I build will be built 30% faster. Now we are still way over on our domain holdings, so anything like this is a temple that was created when we switched to feudalism. I'm going to just grant this to a low noble of my culture. So we have just completed step 2 to creating the most powerful island on the planet and eventually being able to destroy the mighty Japanese empire. So step 1 was securing the entire kingdom for our tribal ruler John Cena. Step 2 was taking our John Cena II and converting our kingdom to a feudal realm, essentially allowing us to research things way faster and increase our gold income. But how do we go from making -1 gold per month now to being able to overthrow the Japanese army with 9,000 troops? We need to be able to build really good buildings in our holdings. So for example, we have a small harbor down here. The harbor itself currently makes 0.35 gold per month. If I were to upgrade it to the second tier, it would make 0.55 gold per month. The third tier, 0.75, fourth, 0.95, but I can't upgrade it to the fourth tier. Why? Well, because our culture does not have manorialism. Manorialism is a technology that we can research in the early medieval era. So we have to unlock the early medieval era by unlocking all the technologies in the tribal era. And as we discussed before, it's all about the average development of our counties. As you can see, our main county here has 13 development. Chang'an is now sitting at 29. The Japanese are sitting at 26. So really, we are so far behind them. How do we improve this? One, we can always make sure we're working down the learning lifestyle focus in the scholarship focus, increasing development growth. Following that, we can always pick up planned cultivation as fast as possible. This increases our county development efficiency, so it allows our steward to develop the county much faster. Having the scientific perk allows us to research technologies faster, and in the stewardship lifestyle tree, centralization increases our realm capital development. So we know learning lifestyle perks help boost our development, but buildings also help increase our development greatly. In any coastal city, having a trade port is one of the best options for increasing development growth. In cities, I'm always going to be picking up the guild halls. This gives us plus 5% development growth. And we have some special buildings in our land, namely the holy sites for the Hanitu religion. These give plus 20% development growth, so increasing the development of our island is essentially based on stacking all those bonuses. But it's got to be a bit of a mix, right? You need to have a good gold economy to be able to invest in buildings that are going to give you increased development. But in order to have a good gold economy, you need to have development in order to research technologies that give you really good gold buildings. So the next step in our plan is going to be a bit of a balancing act. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my 500 gold that I have saved and start investing it. I'm going to make sure that any building that provides gold, like the trade port over here, is upgraded to the max level. Alrighty, so you join me again. The year is 972. We are at the end of our life. John Cena II not doing too well here, but we've secured our succession to go to our son, John Cena III, who also has a son who's looking pretty good. He's intelligent, hale, and beautiful. Now, the only thing I'm going to do before this life is out is take a look at my culture. Not only are there a bunch of traditions which your culture has, these can impact your development speed and research speed, but we know the research speed is directly related to the development in the lands of your culture. I have a bunch of these currencies that are not going to roll over to my next life, namely prestige and piety. I can use that prestige here and reform our culture, just changing one or two little aspects of it. I'm going to establish a new tradition. I'm going to add in hill dwellers. Now, hill dwellers is a really great one because it gives bonuses to our hill farms, which we have around. It increases our development in hills terrain, and it reduces the building construction costs in hills. It's only going to cost cost us 2,000 prestige. So I think I will lock that in. It'll be available in 5 years, and that way that prestige wasn't completely and totally wasted. So now all we have to do is wait for that sweet release of death. All right, so we have died and will now be playing as John Sheena III. Perfect. So just taking a look at John Sheena III, I can see that his lifestyle is the stewardship lifestyle, which we've set up, but on his own, he's gone down the administrator tree. Now, the administrator tree is just not good for us. It really has a lot to do with vassals and learning languages and things that are not helpful. Things that are really helpful to us are down the avaricious tree and the architect tree. So what I'm gonna do is reset the perks. It's gonna cause me a ton of stress. We can deal with that. We also have a metric ton of renown saved up. In this case though, I have so much that I can spend some of it on dynasty legacies. Now I'm gonna go up the erudition tree first because this will give us treasured knowledge, increasing our development growth by 20%. Now, one of the greatest things about our character here, John Sheena III, is that we pulled the diligent perk when educating him. Now, the diligent perk allows for a special decision, the develop capital decision. Now, this is going to cause me some stress, you know, but it's going to give me diligent planning, increasing my development growth in the realm capital by plus 0.2 per month for 10 years. There is the development growth scale. There's 100 development growth points, and every time you pass 100, you get 1 development point in here. And you'll see our development growth in our capital is 1.2 per month. Because of our seaports that we built, we have a boost. Because of our scholarship focus, we have a boost. And the holy site we constructed also is giving us a boost. And our culture as well is giving us a boost. So the goal for this life is going to be very simple. Save my gold and reinvest it in my holdings. Focus on learning and increasing our innovation, specifically in communal government, reducing any existing development penalty, battlements, allowing us to build tier 2 castles, then manorialism, giving us access to more economic buildings, and finally coinage, increasing our development growth in our lands. Okay, so I've saved up enough renown to be able to unlock trusted knowledge, giving us increased development growth and a boost to our learning lifestyle experience. Now we can think about going up maybe law, giving us a reduction to our construction costs. Now that all my buildings are kind of maxed out, I'm going to use my gold to construct additional holdings pretty much everywhere and make sure that every possible spot for a holding is built. There's cities, there's temples, there's things everywhere. So right now we're researching Ledger and we're doing that in 6 years. Obviously I spoke about all the development and everything we're doing to increase the speed that way. However, the other thing that impacts your research speed is your learning, your personal learning as the head of the culture. Now I'm at 17. That's not bad at all. But what I've done is I've found a spouse with 19 learning. She's got the mastermind philosopher trait. She's really, really smart. I've made her my primary spouse and I'm gonna slap her on patronage, basically allowing her to give me plus 9 learning. So now you can see if I come over to my culture, ledgers, it's only taking 5 years. I shaved an entire year because my learning is now at 23. I'm going to essentially found a holy order now. They will rent out one of my holdings, giving me lump sums of gold at various points in time, and I'll be able to call upon them whenever we need to declare war against somebody else. So let's found this holy order. So here you go. They are offering us 500 gold to stay in our city. So yeah, hell yeah, let's lease them. Looking around, you know, I've constructed holdings literally everywhere you can build a holding, and I've made sure all the buildings are maxed out for my technology level. And when you look at the development of our capital here, we're at 27.
Wow.
Because the original John Sheena that I groomed to be really good at stewardship is doing an amazing job at promoting the development in county. We are taking a massive penalty from the existing development. However, I've been researching the technology that takes that away, and it'll be done in 2 years. When we look at our 27 development and compare that to places like Chang'an at 32, or this other holding down here in Mianchi, they are incredibly strong. Over here as well in Japan, we've almost caught up to the Japanese at 30 development.
One eternity later.
So I could change my succession law now to primogenitor. I had to do a little bit of cheeky business to get that, but it's fine. All right, there you go, changed. Beautiful. So now all my titles will flow to my player's son and heir, John Sheena. Okay, so we have died and we'll be continuing as John Sheena IV out here. And this kid kid is an absolute genius, bro. So if we take a look now, our economy is in good shape. We have a really solid ruler with a great wife lined up. We're betrothed to young Hong here, Hong Fu. So the goal for this life is to make sure we rush and research battlements, allowing us to create new castles. And by the time we pass on to the next life, we should be able to upgrade all our buildings and really start chugging along. Okay, and guess what? The 6th Jiangdong expansion for this one holding. Wow. Another war we have to fight. But this time they have well, 4,000 soldiers. We have 5,000. Shouldn't be the end of the world. I could confess my love to this hostage I have. Essentially, these guys keep trying to invade me, and I have their hostage from a previous war, and I could confess my love for her. So I can essentially bang this guy's daughter, even though he's invading me. Okay, yeah, let's do that. How wonderful. She's been banged. They're trying to invade my shores. I will raise all my troops here, I think, because they can raise pretty quickly. I'll make sure to hire my holy order in my defense here. Kind of epic. We're fighting on a temple on the top of this mountain. Pretty sick, not gonna lie. Oh, and we've taken the enemy war banner, the Jianendong war banner, and we can enforce our demand. So be it. And with the war reparations and renting out one of the holdings to the holy order, we're now sitting at 2,000 gold.
What?
Pretty much everywhere that I own is upgraded, so it's really just a matter of stacking that gold until we get battlements in about 8 years. Oh, and I've knocked his daughter up. Not only do I keep absolutely trouncing him in wars, but I've now knocked up his daughter. I think I should marry her just to make it even worse. I just want to point out this woman in my court right now that is vaguely related to me. I've been working on kind of making sure that all my family members always consistently have good traits, and she looks pretty solid. Like, if I arrange a marriage for her with me, we could have potentially all 3, Amazonian, Genius, and Beautiful. And there's only a 1% chance of being inbred, which is huge. So let me lock that in right now. Oh, let's go! We had a son who is beautiful, Herculean, and a genius. Let's go, dude. Oh my days. We will name him after myself. I've come to the conclusion that it's gonna be a good idea to diverge my culture and create a new one now, namely because I can switch to the bureaucratic pillar, giving me plus 15% development growth. And now in our royal court, I can come over to our court grandeur and change from a tribal court to an administrative court, reducing building construction time, building construction costs, increasing development in the realm capital by 0.2. And here I'm just upgrading literally everything I can as quick as possible. So we've actually been really lucky this life. We were able to unlock all battlements, manorialism, and coinage, mostly because our guy has 36 learning. He's an absolute Chad, dude. So we're gonna be on to the high medieval era next. And with our development now being 38 and 32 here, the Japanese have 35. So we've passed the Japanese. We're up to 34 gold per month. If we look at the mighty Tang Empire here, they're at 8. You know, they are the mighty Tang Empire. We could never compete with them. Okay, so we are close to death. Before I end my life, I want to show you a few things. One, the fact that my realm capital here is at 42 development. Now, around it, we have places at 34, 33. Now, I want to kind of spread out and average out my development over the entire island. So I'm going to move my capital down here. This should give the lower half of the island a little bit of a boost in terms of development. All right, so we have died. We'll be playing as John Sheena V. We're cooking at 44 learning, dude. I also have the ability to strengthen the bloodline. This is because my character here has genius, Herculean, and beautiful traits. This is going to give me strong blood, increasing the chance of good congenial traits being passed down to my new heirs. So yeah, I say we do it. Let's strengthen the bloodline. We have a bright future ahead of us. We are now the blood father. Okay, so I'm gonna search for a royal gardener now, and this lady joined our court. Now, having a court gardener gives development growth in the realm capital from plus 0.01 to plus 0.07, which is huge. So let's lock her in, and when you take a look here, the development is increasing by 3.4, which is just nuts. Some of the most developed places in the world, down here in India, for example, with 41 development, their development's only going up by 0.1. We're gonna be able to catch up with them incredibly quickly. In terms of technology, I finally unlocked hoardings, allowing us to upgrade all our castles, and guilds, allowing us to build build all economic era buildings. So I think after a few rounds of investment here, we are going to be absolutely flying and can start on the next phase of this game, focusing on our military to be able to crush the Japanese Empire. Here's a quick time lapse. Well, there you go. In just a few years, I've blown through about 30 years worth of savings. Now, it would appear we've just unlocked windmills, which are awesome. They give us plus 0.7 gold per month, plus 0.4 development, and a bonus to the development percentage. So I'm going to prioritize building those. That's really going to make these holdings overpowered. I just want to highlight this here for a second. I'm building water mills in our original capital over here. And when I do that, it's costing me 132 gold. It's supposed to be 1,000 gold, but because we have industrial mills, so like we already have the upgrade to the water mills, it's giving a huge decline. I have a bunch of stone quarries that I've been building. These are really great buildings because not only do they give a reduction to the cost of your army, but they also increase development and reduce building costs. Not only that, I have the architect perk, cutting cornerstones, and from our religion communal possession, our court type is making it cheaper, and then all of these percentage bonuses are helping out as well. If you recall, these are all things that we've added. Okay, so the development here is increasing at 9.8, and it's not even maxed out yet. There's still more shipyards and things I could build. There we go, and we'll be playing as John Cena VI. I've had this legend that apparently has gone absolutely hog wild. It's made its way into Korea, Japan, and on the mainland over here. But I'm going to actually go about completing this legend because it's going to give me some pretty sweet boosts. We'll gain access to a legendary artifact decision, as well as be able to clear a path for a legendary palace, which is going to give us insane boosts to our development, legitimacy, and vassal tax contribution. So let's complete this. Here's the end of the book to John Cena's noble family. Beautiful. Bing chilling. I forgot I made that my house motto. So now from that legend being in our library, you can see that we gain a +6 boost to development growth, and we have this decision to clear the ground for a legendary building. I'm actually going to purchase it right here, and we'll build it and gain those bonuses. And we're currently sitting at 51 learning. We're researching new technologies like bombards here in simply 4 years, which is incredible. Like any YouTuber that goes to Asia, I have made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment. I have currently 84 development in this holding. I'm trying to catch up to the Tang Empire at 91, and I couldn't figure out why it wasn't working. And it's simply because there is a monthly change in development growth modifier here. Specifically, the county capital has a -40%. Because it's a jungle territory, it just loses development like crazy. If I were to have moved my capital and tried to improve the development down here, it would be a lot better. If I move my capital down here, you can see that I'm making a increase of +18, which is just kind of insane. Here is farmlands, and farmlands have a +20% development growth. I could have also leaned into that even harder. Mistakes were made. You know what? Screw it. We're gonna attack Japan now. So here's how I'm going to destroy the Japanese Empire. There's essentially no way to do it normally. Like if I were to declare war on them, I can get a kingdom, I can get a duchy, I can get a county, but there's no way to actually take over the empire. They are an administrative government, so I can't exactly submit to them and then cause a dissolution war. But what I can do is attack their capital. I think that's good enough to say, hey, this little tiny island can not only get way more developed than you, research technology way quicker than you, but it could also destroy you in a war. Now, you're going to notice something a little bit crazy. I can create men-at-arms regiments here. Let's take the bombards, for example. These have 0.6 siege ability per day and should be able to roll over any holding in our way. You'll notice I can make 44 men-at-arms units, and this is a little ridiculous, to be honest. The reason for this is because in our culture, we have this unique tradition that the modders put in for the Australian region. And you know, this tech does a couple different things. It allows the trade port line of buildings to be constructed in the tribal era, but it does one more thing that is completely and totally broken. The trade port line of buildings increases levies and the size of your men-at-arms regiments. Remember, I've been building trade ports everywhere because they grant an increase to your development growth. You'll notice because of this cultural tradition, each trade port offers +3 men-at-arms regiments. And when you consider I literally built them in every single holding possible, and then have groomed my characters to have the genius trait giving increases to their stewardship, well, we could have up to 12 domain holdings, all with a level 8 dry dock in it. Yeah, that allows me to have, well, massive armies of men-at-arms units. In total, we're making 272 per month with 30,000 guys. When you compare that to France making, 43, England making... I've pretty much filled up my army here. I'm going to wait, and that'll give us 51,000 troops. All right, I think it's time we finally press our claim. I think we declare war on the Japanese down here. I would have loved to been able to destroy the entire kingdom, but the capital will be good enough for now. We could raise all our soldiers down here. Let's fire these bad boys in. And our troops slowly are taking the capital here. And our bombards are just tearing through. I have regular armies trying to siege over here. They just can't do it. Oh my god, look at that. It's so quick, dude. And the Japanese army, nowhere to be found right now. Okay, we've taken 100% war score, but I don't care. I'm here to destroy Japan, and that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna siege and try to take all of these holdings until it forcibly goes. Oh, here is his army. They're coming. Oh, get away, get away, get away. They're on the run. I don't know. I was right next to them, and they're sprinting. Here we go. Come on, get them. Sick them, boys. The mighty Japanese army, here we are. And he trickles in, which is brutal. Chalk that up under things you love to see. And an auto-forced victory on me. But that's it. That's what we've done. We've now taken the capital of Japan all to ourselves, which is actually a pretty good holding. And now we must look to the mighty Tang Empire with 62,000 troops to see if I've built up this tiny kingdom over hundreds of years to stand up to the ultimate test. But first, a quick reminder and thank you to our sponsor. Shout out to War Thunder again for sponsoring today's video. Make sure to check out War Thunder now for free on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or mobile. And use my links in the pinned comment or video description to register. Those of you who are new or haven't played in 6 months will also receive a massive bonus pack across PC and console, including multiple premium vehicles, in-game currency, and more. And now we must turn our sights to the mighty Tang Empire with 62,000 troops. And there's only one logical thing to do now.
Yoink.
Why Chungwa? Why Chungo Lemi? Jugo Chiats and Potao mi. Shaoha. Why and Shaoha. Why? Bing chilling.
The Ottawa Welshman.
And if you liked that video, I've got some great news for you. I've handpicked the video on screen right now as one I know you're going to love. Why don't you check it out? Give it a watch.
Got 1,000 sons, all named John. They probably don't know that their cousin is the mom. Tutorials play through, speed runs to win. No challenge too great for the Ottawa Welshman.